guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Neha and I make videos related to books, and welcome to a book haul from iconic bookshops across India. So yeah, if you've seen the title already, I have a massive book haul from all the cities that I've recently visited. I have been traveling quite a bit. We've been to Hyderabad, Delhi, Bangalore, Goa, and there are more travel plans coming up as well. So yeah, it's been a very travel oriented year, which I have mixed feelings about, honestly. But anyway, whichever city I'll go to, I always make it a point to check out the iconic bookshops of that city. And with that, I have accumulated quite a lot of books from these cities and some of the best bookshops of the country, and I'm so excited to show them to you. But before we get started, one quick disclaimer: if you hear the fan noise, I'm sorry, but I need the fan on. It's so hot in Bombay already, and if I don't have the fan on, I will be melting right here in front of the camera. So yeah, that. Anyway, let's get started. The first city that I have books from is Bangalore. Now, I have been visiting Bangalore when I was a kid quite frequently, but I haven't been back there in many years actually. I think maybe close to like 5 to 7 years or even more. And this time when we went back, I knew I had to visit Blossom Book House, which is this iconic bookshop in Church Street. They have a massive collection of used books which are in amazing condition, and they also have a great selection of new books as well. But for the used books in particular, they are racks and racks and racks of these books in all possible genres like science fiction, thriller, western, romance, literary fiction, horror, mystery, Indian books, non-fiction books related to Indian history, US history, world history, spirituality, everything. Any genre that you can think of, I bet you there's a rack on it in Blossoms, and I just had such a good time there. I could have easily spent a day there just roaming around and not get bored. Unfortunately, I did not have a day. I just had a couple of hours in the evening, but you can see it in my face how happy I was to be making my way there, because I've been looking forward to going to that bookshop for so long after seeing so many photos and videos on YouTube and Instagram about that bookshop. But anyway, I bought 5 books from Blossoms. One of them is kind of like a reference book, and out of the 4 other fiction books, I've already read 2 of them. So let's quickly talk about all my new acquisitions. The first one is The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. This translated by Anne Goldstein. This is book 2 in the Neapolitan Quartet. I read book 1, My Brilliant Friend, I think at least 3 years ago, and I've been meaning to get back to that series, and I'm finally back. This picks up from the young adulthood of Leela and Elena, who are friends who grew up in a rough neighborhood in Naples, and I found this book to be more dragged out than the first one. The first one, the setting was new, the people were new, so I think I was devouring it. This one, it didn't feel like anything special, and I don't know, some of my reading experience with this was not as great, so I think I'm not going to return to this quartet, unfortunately, but I'm glad I got to pick out the second book from Blossoms. So yeah, that's the first book. Then another book I have already read and already talked about is Winter in Sochco by Elisa Shua Dusupin. I talked about this in my Jan and Feb wrap up, but which I'll link up above, do check it out. But spoiler alert, I didn't enjoy this one. Actually, I felt it was very pointless, and I really bought it for this beautiful cover, which is like a postcard, and I've heard a lot about this book as well, but unfortunately this one was not for me. Like a lot of Japanese and Korean books are not for me usually, because I find them a little pointless. But anyway, check out that video if you want my full thoughts on the plot, the premise, and my thoughts on the book as well. So yeah. Then the reference book that I was talking about is this one, 50 Literature Ideas You Need to Know About by John Sutherland. Now, I don't have a lit degree. In an alternate life, I would have loved to have a lit degree, and now I don't have the bandwidth to have a full to pursue one anyway. But I have always wanted to know more about critically reading books and writing reviews, and this one felt like a good book like that, because it gives you like a summary of various concepts in literary criticism, like, you know, ambiguity, the classic, epic, lyric, gothic, like what do people mean when they talk about these concepts. And I felt like I need to read this so that I do a better job in describing books on this platform as well as in other like reviews and stuff like that, because I would really like to do that. So yeah, this is this one. Then the two fiction books I haven't yet read. The first one is Near to the Wild Heart by Clarice Lispector. So this is an author that a lot of the people that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, they really enjoy, and I've always meant to read more of her stuff. I can't find her a lot in other bookshops, but when I saw this in Blossoms, I knew I had to give it a go. It says it's the story of a young girl through her growing up, and it is supposed to be impressionistic, dreamlike, and fiercely intelligent, and it's also her debut novel, which was highly acclaimed. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I don't know when, but very much looking forward to this one. And then the last book is another one which I'm usually not, it won't be the first book that I pick, but it is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This is book 1 in the Great Cities trilogy, and all I know about this book is that it is a great science fiction dystopian book, one of the greats. It actually won, I mean, he is a 4-time Hugo Award winner, and again comes with great repute, and a lot of people on the internet that I see seem to really love this trilogy. I am actually saving this book for one of those times when I'm in a slumpy mood, because whenever I'm in such a mood, reading science fiction really pulls me out of the slump, because it's not a typical genre that I enjoy. I do pay attention to the world building, and if done well, it's so engaging, and it immediately pulls me out of the slump. So I'm saving this book for one of those times, which I know will happen. So yeah, that's for Blossoms. Moving on to the next city, I went to Delhi, actually to Gurgaon, because my in-laws have now shifted from Delhi to Gurgaon, and it's my first time actually staying there. Usually I always go to Khan Market in Delhi for whenever I go there for the bookshops, but that week that we were there, it was a hectic work week and I couldn't take out enough time to travel that much. I did go to the Barisans in Gurgaon, and I was pleasantly surprised by the collection. It was very well curated by, like most Barisans actually. I shouldn't have been as surprised as I was. But the best part about any Barisans is that you walk in, you go to the classic section, and you see these shelves full of red spines and black spines and white spines and other beautiful editions. And it's just my favorite thing about visiting a Barisans. It always makes me happy. Again, a bibliophile's paradise, just like Blossoms. I hope they open soon in Mumbai. If anybody from Barisans is watching, please open up in Mumbai. I know the rents here are insane, but please consider it, will you? Anyway, I again picked up 5 books from Barisans. I couldn't resist. The first one I did finish, the Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I took this one to Goa when I was on vacation last week, and I think I'll talk about this in detail in my March wrap up. But for the point of this video, this is kind of like book 2 in a duology with interconnected characters. So you don't really need to read book 1, but you know, if you want to know the backstory of the characters which come into this, you can read book 1, which is I think A Visit to the Goon Squad. But this is basically a set of interconnected tales about different characters, and it's kind of a science fiction because it's set in a world where there is this social media where you can upload your consciousness into this thing, and you can access other people's memories and consciousness, and the same way other people can access yours, and that concept is delved into in deep with all these people who use it, don't use it, oppose it, are proponents of it, etc. I really liked it, but deeper thoughts to come in my wrap up, but do check it out. I do plan to read book 1 as well, because I'm invested in these characters now. So yeah. Then another one I finished is Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I actually read this immediately after coming back from Barisans. This is a fictionalized version of Ted Bundy's victims, and not exactly victims, like the people who are impacted by his crimes. Now this is a serial killer who has been glorified, unfortunately, in USA. So this book actually does a twist on that. Doesn't name him ever. It just names him as the Defender. I think that's what and that's what the book refers to him as. And it talks about the women who were impacted, friends and family of his victims, and how they felt about going on the stand, in the giving their testimonies in the trial, seeing the public reaction to this man, and the aftermath of his trial, etc., etc. I really liked it. Again, deeper thoughts to come in the wrap up, but I did like this kind of POV on this very, very famous serial killer, and do check it out. A bit draggy towards the end, but if you don't mind that, I think a lot of people do like this book. Then one I DNF'd, unfortunately, just yesterday. Everything the Light Touches by Janice Parriott. This was in the JCB shortlist in 2022, and I've been seeing this a lot in bookshops. Finally decided to pick it up in Delhi. This is again a set of novellas of different characters across different timelines. The common thread is trees and nature, and how deeply entwined nature is for the well-being of humans. And I was interested in it because I think another book that I read like that is Bewildered, or no, The Overstory, and I really enjoyed this book. This, unfortunately, I got bored. Like, I couldn't see the point of these stories. I don't think the author did a good job in weaving them together. I got bored because I was not invested in these characters. I didn't feel the need to read more about them because I am so engaged to them. And my New Year's resolution of 24 is that if a book is not keeping me engaged, I'm going to set it down and move on to the next one, because I have a lot of unread books. So unfortunately, this one was not for me, but it has been for a lot of people on the internet. So if the themes that I mentioned excite you, pick it up. But unfortunately, not for me. Then the two books that I haven't yet read. The first one is A Prayer for the Crowned Shy by Becky Chambers. This is book 2 in the Monk and Robert series. I read book 1 in Jan-Feb, and I talked about it in extensive detail in my wrap-up. Do check it out. But this is book 2, about what happens when these two entities meet and they set about on their journey. And I'm very, very, very excited to read this. This again I'm reserving for the days when I'm in a slump and I need a good book and I need a comfort book to just wrap myself and have a good time. So I'm going to be keeping this aside for such a time, which I know will come soon. So yeah, looking forward to it. Another similar book that I'm keeping aside for such a time is What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Ayoma, translated by Alison Watts. This is a set of stories about Tokyo's most enigmatic librarian. So a bunch of characters go to a library and they want to pick out a book, but the librarian suggests them a book which eventually changes their lives for the better, is what I got from the synopsis. I read a couple of pages and I was really intrigued, and it again felt like one of those feel-good, cozy books that you will reach out to when you are in need of such a book. A book about books is my favorite thing on this planet, so I'm reserving it for maybe when I'm on vacation or when I'm in a slumpy mood or I'm in just in a bad mental space. This is going to be the book I reach out to. So yeah. Okay, and then the last place that I visited just last week actually was Goa. I was there for vacation for 4 days, and we were in South Goa, which is just the most relaxing part because the beaches are not crowded, there are not many people, the weather is better on the beaches, so you'd rather stay on the beaches than inland, because inland is hot and humid. And it was just the most relaxing, the most wonderful time. I was sick right before we went for the trip, so Goa was the break I really, really, really needed, and it was very therapeutic, it was very healing. And of course I had to go to a bookshop. I went to the Dog Years bookshop in Madgaon, yes, in Madgaon, which is a city in South Goa again. I've been there earlier as well, and I really enjoyed their curation, their collection. The owner is really sweet and the bookshop is so cute. And this time again I went and I picked out 2 books. One of which I already read on holiday because it is a book about books. This is The Storied Life of A.J. Fikri by Gabriel Zevin. I picked this up because it was a book about books, and also I liked Gabriel Zevin's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, though not as much as everybody else on the internet, but this one felt promising. It is the story of a bookseller in a small town who's kind of grieving his wife's death, and he's struggling to run the bookshop. And one day a baby is left in his bookshop, and he starts to take care of her, and her name is Maya. And yeah, it's about a grumpy man who gets a sunshine baby, and who kind of rescues him, and he rescues her, and so on and so forth. Very sweet book, a kind of a book that again you read on holiday, a book about books, like I mentioned. I did have a good time with it. It's a simple story. There's nothing too major. It's not anything literary to criticize about. It was just a feel good, simple, cozy book about books, about bookshops, about the healing power of books and words. And yeah, I did have a good time reading this on the beach. Detailed thoughts again in my wrap up, but yeah, as you can see, most of March I have read most of my latest acquisitions, so that's a good thing. And then the last one from Goa, from this haul, is V.S. Naipaul's Half Alive. I had read Room for Mr. Biswas by V.S. Naipaul 3 years ago probably, and I did like that book. I read it during the second wave of COVID, and I was locked down, and that book was a good distraction from everything horrible that was going on outside, and I've always wanted to give him a second try. And I found this in the Dog Ears bookshop. They have, on their second level, they have a used book section, and I found this there. It says it is about a Willie Chandran who's the unhappy union of a low caste mother and a father who's constantly at odds. Willie is naively eager to find something that will place him both in and apart from the world. He goes to London, and to the immigrant and bohemian communities of post-war London. It is his first experience of love that he finally senses the possibility of fulfillment. So yeah, I thought I'd read this again on the beach, but I didn't have enough time. So this comes to Bombay with me unread. I will pick it up in some time. So yeah. And that's it. Those are all the books that I've recently acquired. There are quite a few, but I've already read quite a few, so I'm really happy about that. And I always love going to bookshops, especially in other cities, and pick out books to read, because it's kind of like a commemoration for that trip as well for me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. If you're still around, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.